In Sacramento, we have something special. We have so many people who have a genuine heart, a genuine concern, a genuine love for their city. They have a worldview that says that God cares about people and He cares about cities. And we have an impatience or an intolerance even for doing it independently.
Years ago, our culture, people went to church. That's not so much true anymore. And so the schools are the hub of family life in many cases.
I think churches in the past have promoted overseas missions trips, but I've come to recognize that the schools are the natural place where community happens.
The school is really, it's just a microcosm, or you might say sort of a microscope is on every societal problem that we have. It's there. We have addiction, we have abuse, we have, you name it, it's there. We're actually dealing with victims of other people's decisions. When we look at kids in schools, we don't count them as responsible for the issues that are in their lives. It really is a different thing because we're talking about students who are dealing with the same problems, but largely not of their own making.
There's a sense about a lot of our students that no one cares and that they are public enemy number one of trying to amend or reconcile the relationships that a lot of kids have with adult and authoritative figures.
The problems and possibilities of a local community meet in the local school. So isn't that where you would want to be? And so when I talk to local churches, when I talk to nonprofits, when I talk to businesses, the question is, how can we cooperate together? If we know that's the place where this next generation is being raised, that's going to live and work and lead in our community, that's where we want to pour our resources.
So I set up a meeting with the principal and we just said, hey, we just want to know if you can come up with a list of needs that the school has. We were going to say yes to everything on that list, no matter what, just to prove to them that we really were trustworthy and our hearts were to serve, just to serve. I remember the principal coming to us and saying, hey, there's a lot of gum and trash everywhere, but it's going to cost us $15,000 basically to scrape gum off of the concrete.
Think of 50 years of 2,000 teenagers 1 year at a time. That's a lot of gum.
We had 250 people show up on a Saturday with gum scrapers. After you're willing to do that, man, the principal and the schools and the teachers are like, who are these people, you know?
You know, these kids have so many things that they come to school with that they're struggling with. Hunger, neglect, coming to school disheveled, not really able to concentrate on the academics because clearly there were things going on at home for them. To expect them to perform academically, I think, is unreasonable because their basic needs aren't being met. So we provide them with a place to be, with people who love them, and with the tools that they need to succeed academically, socially, relationally, in hopes that it will change the trajectory of their lives.
Foster and adoptive youth need stability and love and nurturing and felt safety, not just physical safety, but felt safety. And until they get those things as their foundation, then they're not going to succeed in school, not be able to catch up in school.
We all have a responsibility to everyone else, you know, and what I do matters to people, whether it's my vocation or whether it's just something like I have the ability to fish or woodwork, and a kid who's may never have held a fishing pole or learned how to do wood, you know, all those different things that we have that we don't even recognize are tools to bring hope, to bring encouragement, to bring life skills, all those kinds of things.
One of our big outreaches this year is to refugee students. In one school district alone where they have over 800 refugees that as they're settling here, they're also learning English for the first time. We need to connect people who have landed here in this community, and we need to connect them with people so they're part of their own community so we don't see some of the kinds of problems that, you know, a light has been shined on a national and international level.
When we think about young people experiencing homelessness, oftentimes we think of street homeless, but we don't think about young people who are housing unstable. So they live from pillar to post and aunt's house to grandma's house to a friend's neighbor's house. What does that mean in interruptions in their educational experiences? When we don't take care of young people who are experiencing homelessness, we have an increase of cost in social services, we have a decline in our tax base, and then you also have an increase in the number of people who are living vagrant on the streets. Youth homelessness is the pipeline into chronic homelessness and adult homelessness. They didn't ask to be homeless. This was not their choice. As an adult, caring Christian, I have a responsibility to do something different for them.
I grew up as a fatherless person, and I understand the impacts that it has throughout life, and it's just lifelong impacts. It's not just during childhood. As a result, I committed to studying the fatherless man and understanding what his plight was and what were the scenarios that contributed to his situation. Out of that study, I talked to presidents of universities all the way to members of gangs, and we all spoke the same language. We spoke a language of neglect. We spoke a language of unanswered questions. We spoke a language of a need for closure. So when we look at fatherlessness, many researchers before me have looked at it in terms of a quantitative nature, and they've related the issue of fatherlessness over to many social ills that exist. They will give you the numbers or stats that relate fatherlessness to promiscuity, that relate fatherlessness to divorce, that relate fatherlessness to crime and incarceration. I took a different approach. I wanted to understand the people behind the numbers, because understanding the person behind the numbers and their qualitative motivations gives me the ability to start to institute policies that reflect change. So we go to coaches, we go to teachers, we go to administrators, and we hope that they see it, but sometimes they don't. And so the impact to the public school is that you may have performance declines. You may have behavioral issues because of a performance need, and you may have a disconnection socially. So training teachers, training administrators in that space, I believe is a good way to bring it to their peripheral vision so that the fatherless boy, the fatherless girl is considered when decisions are being made.
When kids are 30, they don't look back on their lives and say, hey, I didn't have enough people, enough adults caring for me or rooting for me. And so in essence, we're mentors, we're leaders, we're coaches, and I get to be fans of adolescents and kind of cheer them on and give them more hope and encouragement in the areas of their life that they struggle in.
We are the most integrated city in America, number one. We are mixed up people in Sacramento. You know, if we go down together, we're not gonna be lonely. You know, if we succeed, we say, how in the world did that happen? And we can rejoice, and we have someone to share that with. And we say, today was a good day. Today was a good day.